You got to see what's happening. They all want to come back to Michigan and build cars again. You know why? Because of our tax and tariff policy.
Since inception, I really wanted to focus on American manufacturers. So about 95% of our supplier pool is domestic, or so we thought. We're discovering that's not exactly true, meaning many of our suppliers, the key components or elements of their products that we need are imported mostly from Asia.
President Trump is pretty pleased with his sweeping tariffs.
We're rich as hell. We're the hottest country in the world, and I like that.
In fact, they'll make Americans poorer, and the president has started something he cannot win.
Once celebrated as monuments to American industrial might, the vast auto plants of Detroit, Ohio, and the greater Midwest now stand eerily silent. Their locked gates creak in the wind. Broken windows stare blankly at empty parking lots where thousands of freshly minted cars once rolled out every day. For generations, these facilities were more than just workplaces. They were the beating heart of entire communities, towns that lived and breathed to the rhythm of the assembly line. Today, that rhythm has stopped. The hum of machinery has been replaced by the echo of footsteps across cold concrete floors. Local diners that once overflowed with third-shift workers are shuttered. Schools that relied on factory tax revenue struggle to fund basic programs. Lifelong residents speak of economic dead zones, where hope is as scarce as a steady paycheck. Unemployment across key manufacturing counties has nearly doubled in just 9 months. A statistic that feels less like a number and more like a scar carved into the American landscape. The question hangs heavy in the air. Could this be the moment when America's proudest industry begins an irreversible decline? If those empty plants symbolize the collapse of an era, Tesla's sudden retreat stands as the clearest warning that even America's brightest star can't withstand the storm. Once hailed as the crown jewel of US innovation, Tesla found itself cornered by a tariff barrage it could no longer absorb. Within a single quarter, new duties added an estimated $300 million to its operating costs, enough to shake even a giant. Markets reacted brutally. In the days following President Trump's tariff announcement, Tesla's stock tumbled by 20%, wiping out billions in market value and sending investors scrambling. Behind the headlines, a quiet but profound shift was underway. Tesla moved its flagship 4,680 battery program across the border to Quebec, lured by a $1.2 billion incentive package that Washington couldn't match. Meanwhile, a rollback of US emissions penalties erased nearly $2.8 billion in annual carbon credit revenue, a stream that once kept Tesla's American balance sheet in the black. Without that cushion, its US operations no longer looked sustainable. The icon of electric ambition had become the latest in a line of departures, and Tesla's choice sends a loud message to every automaker. If the most celebrated EV company can be driven north of the border, no one is safe from policy shockwaves. Tesla may be the headline, but Cadillac's struggle shows how tariffs cut across old and new alike. Once a symbol of American prestige, Cadillac now finds itself boxed in by a 25% import duty on critical parts and materials. That single policy has pushed sticker prices sky high, adding $4,000 to $10,000 per vehicle. The legendary Escalade, long a status icon for families and business owners, now starts at $93,295. Even loyal buyers are balking. It's like watching the dream drift away, one Detroit customer told local reporters after abandoning his purchase. And it isn't just showrooms feeling the pinch. In Tennessee, General Motors has already announced it will halt production of 2 key EV models, the LAR and the Vistique, by the end of 2025, effectively stalling Cadillac's electric ambitions in the US. Local leaders are sounding the alarm. The mayor of Arlington, Texas, home to one of Cadillac's most important plants, called the tariff regime a job-killing policy. For workers already bracing for layoffs, those words land like confirmation of their worst fears. Cadillac's crisis might seem severe, but it pales next to the bleeding suffered by America's biggest players. Ford, a name once synonymous with resilience, has been forced into retreat. Losses topping $1.5 billion have triggered plant closures in both Chicago and Michigan, leaving nearly 9,000 workers jobless in just a few months. Entire neighborhoods that once pulsed with the rhythm of factory shifts now face shuttered gates and a silence that feels permanent. Across the Atlantic, Stellantis, parent to Chrysler, Jeep and Dodge, has suffered an equally brutal blow. Nearly 900 US workers have already been laid off as multiple assembly lines remain frozen indefinitely. Tariffs alone have cost the company more than $330 million, part of a total loss of $2.3 billion. What began as a policy designed to protect domestic jobs has instead accelerated their disappearance, eroding the very foundation of America's industrial belt. For both Ford and Stellantis, the question is no longer about weathering a temporary storm, but whether they can continue producing in the United States at all. If Ford and Stellantis are bleeding inside America, then General Motors and Nissan are bleeding America itself. Legendary models once proudly stamped Made in USA, from the Chevrolet Silverado pickup to the Blazer SUV, are now assembled in plants across Mexico and South Korea. For consumers, the badge may look the same, but for workers in Michigan, Texas and Missouri, the reality is unmistakable. The assembly lines have gone dark. In the second quarter of 2025 alone, GM reported $1.1 billion in losses, reflecting both collapsing demand and the steep costs of abandoning its US footprint. The logic is cold but simple. By shifting production south and overseas, GM slashes labor costs by as much as 70%, a saving that Washington's tariff walls cannot erase. Nissan has reached a similar conclusion. Once eager to expand in Tennessee, the company has reversed course, cutting 20% of its American capacity and leaving more than 25,000 workers without jobs. For the small industrial towns that depended on those factories, the effect is devastating. Shops close, schools lose funding, entire communities hollow out, becoming shells of their former selves. Each departure reinforces the same brutal message: global production will not wait for America to solve its crisis. If these insights are eye-opening, drop a comment below and tell us how these shifts are affecting your own community. And remember, Gearhead Glam is here to keep the spotlight on these changes. As if the collapse of American icons were not enough, foreign automakers caught in the same storm face a different reckoning. Hyundai, long a quiet success story in the southern United States, has become the victim of a double squeeze: tariffs that drive up costs on the front end, and immigration crackdowns that choke the very workforce needed to keep production alive. In the second quarter of 2025, Hyundai's profits tumbled by more than 20%, with analysts warning that sticker prices on popular models could climb another $3,000 to $6,000. The company, once marketed as the affordable alternative to pricier US brands, now risks losing its competitive edge in the market where it had gained the most ground. But numbers tell only part of the story. At the company's battery plant in Georgia, federal agents carried out one of the largest immigration raids in recent memory, detaining 475 workers in a single sweep. Overnight, an already fragile supply chain lost its lifeline, leaving production schedules in chaos and exposing how dependent modern manufacturing has become on migrant labor. Managers scrambled to fill shifts. Local suppliers suddenly found themselves without orders that once seemed guaranteed. Faced with spiraling costs and a shrinking labor pool, Hyundai has begun pivoting its supply chain strategy away from the United States entirely, redirecting investment toward Vietnam and India. This shift does more than reduce American jobs. It signals to other foreign automakers that the US may no longer be a reliable base of operations. For Washington, it is yet another warning that policies meant to shield American industry are instead accelerating its flight abroad. Hyundai's retreat is more than a corporate headline. It's a glimpse of the broader wreckage spreading across the US economy. Every shuttered factory line adds weight to a national bill that's becoming impossible to ignore. For everyday American families, the pain shows up first in the showroom. New vehicles now carry an extra $3,000 on average, while pickup trucks, long the backbone of rural and working-class life, have surged in price by as much as $10,000. What was once a routine household purchase has turned into a luxury many can no longer afford, forcing families to hold on to older cars far longer despite mounting repair costs and dwindling reliability. The financial pressure doesn't stop there. Auto loans are climbing to record highs, stretching family budgets to the breaking point. Insurance premiums tied to rising car prices follow the same trajectory, adding hundreds of dollars per year to household expenses. For younger Americans entering the job market, owning a car, the basic ticket to economic mobility in much of the country, is slipping out of reach. Analysts now warn the US economy could shed $75 billion in output, while inflation creeps up another 1.3%. Auto sales, once a dependable engine of growth, have already plunged by nearly 1 million units, falling to an annual volume of just 15 million. The damage ripples outward. State governments lose tax revenue, suppliers face bankruptcy, local economies once sustained by factory payrolls see their main sources of income vanish. What was once the pride of American manufacturing, the industry that made Detroit a global symbol of modernity, now risks being remembered as a cautionary tale. While the United States bleeds jobs and capital, Canada has turned crisis into opportunity. Quebec has rapidly positioned itself as the new hub for electric vehicle batteries, anchored by Tesla's decision to shift its 4,680 program northward under a $1.2 billion incentive package. Far from being a consolation prize, it's becoming the cornerstone of a new industrial ecosystem. Investors from Japan and Europe, wary of Washington's policy swings, are channeling capital into Canada, betting on political stability and long-term security. Ontario's universities are accelerating the pipeline of engineers and technicians, creating the human capital that ensures these projects are not short-lived experiments, but durable anchors in the global supply chain. Slowly but unmistakably, Canada is emerging as the replacement hub in a value chain that once revolved around American factories. And so the story comes full circle. As factories in Detroit and Ohio fall silent, the lights in Quebec and Ontario burn brighter. The question now is not just how much America has lost, but whether it can ever claw back what it has ceded. Could Canada's ascent mark the beginning of a permanent realignment in North America's industrial balance? Or is this merely the first chapter in a much larger struggle over the future of global manufacturing? Thank you for watching and for sticking with this in-depth look at the shifting automotive landscape. If this resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Gearhead Glam.